Welcome to Netlinked Weekly. We are mixing up the format a little bit for you guys this week. This week, instead of What's Hot, Awesome Deals, and Tips and News, we are going to have What's Hot, Awesome Deals, Tips and News, but not necessarily quite in that order. First up, we have the NCIX's Beat the Heat sale event. So as you guys know, NCIX has weekly sales. As you probably don't know if you don't live here, it's been really friggin' hot. So the thing to do when it's really hot is to stay inside where it is air conditioned and fire up your computer. Speaking of computers, we've got the MSI GT70. This particular configuration has a 3630QM quad-core processor as well as a GTX 675M, and it's available for a whopping $1,300, which is actually quite low for a 17-inch gaming notebook. So that's our first Canadian deal. We've got our second Canadian deal, which is a Samsung 55-inch 120Hz 3D TV for only $1,600 bucks. TVs are so cheap, I think they're going to turn into the next currency after Bitcoin. We are just going to price everything in terms of TVs. How much does a car cost? Well, about 72 TVs. Next up, we've got an HP Envy TouchSmart. Their Envy line of notebooks features Beats Audio, as well as some of the best build quality you can get out of an HP laptop. So this particular one is only $750 bucks and includes a Core i5-3317U, meaning it's a nice low power alternative to, well, larger, bulkier, higher power notebooks. And now it's time for US deals. Our first one is the 6GV2 from SteelSeries. The one thing about this keyboard that isn't pretty much awesome is that it has a short right shift key. So if that bothers you, then maybe move right along. But for 73 bucks, you could do a whole lot worse than great build quality, Cherry MX black switches, as well as built-in media keys and audio pass-through. Our next US deal is Kingston HyperX Black 16 gigs. So that's a 2x8 gig kit for 120 bucks with free shipping. And finally, the last US deal is a Zalman CNPS 9900 Max R. This is a nickel-plated CPU heatsink, and it's only 55 bucks. Very reminiscent of the old Zalman Flower ones, but in a more different orientation that is more modern and better for RAM compatibility as well, now that we have tall DIMMs. Speaking of RAM compatibility, smartwatches, which has nothing to do with RAM compatibility. But to put this in context, the smartwatch market is expected to basically 10x year over year. All right, Apple's getting into it. They have trademarked iWatch. They are on a hiring spree. Microsoft, there are rumors running around about an oxynitride-based smartwatch that's gonna come around sometime in the same time, and as part of Microsoft's whole, well, we're a services and products, we're an ecosystem provider, we're all these things. There's that big letter from Steve Ballmer a little while ago, and smartwatches are apparently gonna be a thing. No longer are we gonna be limited to, like, you know, Nike, and then weird small startups like Pebble, which is actually kind of an awesome product. But the big boys are jumping into this because it is a 1 billion unit market. That was 2012 for dumb watches, and smartwatches, well, guys, if anyone thought smartphones weren't gonna take over dumb phones, yeah, you're probably gonna be one of these guys and you're gonna be wrong again. Next up, we have 5D glass storage. So not only does it track the 3 dimensions in terms of space, but also the position and shape of the data, allowing densities of up to 360 terabytes per disk, temperature resistance to up to 1,000 degrees Celsius, and pretty much an unlimited lifetime. Like so many storage technologies we keep hearing about, and yet somehow we are still using magnetic disks. No idea when it's coming, but when it does, should be pretty cool. Next up, we've got AMD's Q2 results, which were a little bit on the disappointing side. I think they lost over $50 million. However, AMD says 20% of their revenue in Q3 is going to be coming from next generation consoles. They're expecting that to ramp up. This gives us some idea of when PS4 and Xbox One are expected to launch, because it won't be at the beginning of Q3. Obviously, since it's Q3 now, but sometime before the end of Q3, which is interesting, and enough to make up 20% of AMD's revenue, although that could be because they're shipping the chips and then, you know, the consoles might not actually make it to us till later. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. The point is AMD is planning a return to profitability as of Q3 2013. Definitely overdue and definitely good news for the PC industry as a whole. A strong AMD is good for everybody. Speaking of strong companies, Lenovo. Lenovo is the top seller of PCs worldwide and one of the top sellers of laptops. And there's been some talk that between them and AMD and the strengthening of the market for sort of $300 to $600 notebooks could be extremely good news for both of these companies, where they've both traditionally been very strong, and we might even see Lenovo go #1 for laptops before too long. Keep an eye on those guys. Finally, Oculus Rift. Not coming to consoles. This has been confirmed. The console life cycles are apparently too long, which makes an awful lot of sense because you look at how long Xbox 360 and PS3 were on the market. Come on, can those power an Oculus? No. You look at PS4 and Xbox One, can those power an Oculus and play modern games at a decent resolution? No. So in the foreseeable future, not gonna happen. You wanna have the VR experience? PC is going to be the way to go, and Unreal figures in 10 years, by the time those consoles are gone, we might have graphics that are indistinguishable from reality on the PC. And I mean, they're probably going to try on other platforms as well because they're Unreal and their engines power lots of different games, but I suspect where we're going to have that real experience is going to be on the PC. And I really find this, the uncanny valley sort of hypothesis supposes that we will never escape from that. The more realistic it gets, almost, the more you'll notice that one little thing that's wrong. So I'll be interested to see if Unreal can achieve this through its engine in 10 years. That, my friends, really? There's another one. Oh, okay. Well, Far Cry 4. We're clearly going to make another one. Ubisoft's marketing manager. That's all we know. And now we're done. Thanks, guys. Don't miss any episodes of Netlinked Weekly by making sure you're subscribed to NCIX Tech Tips.